Welcome to Science Inquiry 1.9, How do scientists identify errors in experiments? So we're going to take a look at why they occur and how. We've already learned about independent, dependent, and controlled variables. So independent is when you change one thing, the dependent is what happens because of that change, and the control is what you're going to keep the same. Kind of like this plant example where we're seeing what type of liquid makes the plants grow taller. So we're going to take a look at what could go wrong in an experiment like this. So an error is when a scientist creates an experiment, his job is to control as many factors as possible, but an error can happen if something is not controlled. So there is only one variable that must change, and that is the independent variable. Everything else must stay the same. Two types of errors are errors in designs and human errors. So we're going to take a look at those two types. Errors in designs are factors that should be controlled but are not. So this is if we used different plants to test the fertilizer. We don't know, is it the fertilizer that's changing it, or is it a different type of plants that's changing it? The human error is errors that we create because we cannot completely control an experiment. Like if we are trying to keep the force that we pull bags up at the same weight, we don't know how exact our measurement is for that force. So how can we analyze these experiments for their errors? Strategies would be to look for changes in the experiment that should not be controlled, or that should be controlled, and look for variables that might have been missed. So we need to identify those examples, and then our next step is to figure out what it is. So the testable question, which we're going to look at today, is which lasts longer, Energizer batteries or Duracell? So we used two batteries that are new. The Duracell was put in a toy car, and the Energizer was put in a flashlight. If we turn both of them on, the flashlight that stayed on longer, so that means the Energizer lasts longer. Let's look at the errors. This error would be in the design, because if we were to test which battery lasts the longest, we cannot put the batteries in two different objects. We would have to put them both in the car or both in the flashlight. This one is, how does the amount of water I use affect the growth of plants? So we used the same topsoil. Box 1 had daisies and was watered with 3 cups of water. Box 2 had sunflowers and was watered with 1 cup of water. So our error would be what? B, we used different plants, correct. You can pause the video now and try to work on this example on your screen by yourself in your EQ journals. Here's another example that I want you to practice in your EQ journals. When you're finished, close your books and we'll go over them together. Thanks for watching SI 1.9.